So welcome to the logo on the bonnet part 2. Now if you remember from part 1, I brought a vinyl decal of the design that I want, of the Fat Boy logo, and I put it on, I applied it, it looked fantastic, but within about 30 minutes of driving the whole thing had come off. Now obviously, having done the bonnet in Raptorpaint and it's a bit rubberized and textured, I'm assuming that's why it didn't stick. So the product itself was great, I'm not dismissing that at all. So anyway, I got back to them and I said, look, this is what's happened, I'm not blaming you, obviously not your fault. Is it possible for you to do a stencil for me of the design so that I can then basically paint it on and use that as a guide? So they said yes, and here it is. So I'm hoping that this now is going to be the solution. I'm going to be able to just put this on and then stencil it and do it the old-fashioned way like that. So we'll see. I'm quite excited to try and get this down now. I just hope it's the right thing and my messages made sense for them when they did it. Also, I appreciate it's a little bit sunny, but I hope you can see okay. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and press the bell notification, because I want to keep doing these. Right? I like doing them, but obviously it's only sort of worthwhile if people are actually watching them and getting benefit from them. So if that's you and you're enjoying it, please let me know in the comments, because it does take quite a lot of time, even though it's fun. So the first part of this is I'm going to repeat the same process. So I basically positioned where I want this to be, use my little magnets, and now the aim is that I can just peel this back end away, which I'm going to try and do now. So essentially, I've got it connected at the top, so I'm hoping that it stays put. And then very gingerly, I'm going to start to peel Okay, so it seems to be so far so good. Okay, all right, now I'm hoping that's going to be enough to give me a base. So now I've got to apparently take off this top layer, and that should give me the stencil, or at least that's the hope. Okay, so I'm just going to try and press out these lines and just try and make sure that everything sticks in the way that I want it to. Where this is a little bit of an experiment, I'm not actually sure how this is going to work out, right? But we'll find out together, yeah? So let's give it a try. It's looking good so far. I'm being very ginger, but so far it's looking good. Yes. Okay, now that. Okay, so that's worked out very well at the moment, right? So we've got the first part of this, which is our template stencil is on, right? Okay, now for the next bit, which is get some paint on there. All right, let's do it. Let's be brave. Right, so I've got some basic NATO green military paint, and I'm going to sponge this on. That's the idea with this. So what I've got to be careful of when it comes to this is that it doesn't bleed into the edges. So the idea is you sponge nice and lightly onto the top. If you've never done this before, right, it's not particularly difficult as long as long as you don't go over the edges. So what I'm doing, look, is just dabbing the sponge. Don't overload the paint, and then it's just dab the sponge. So I'm not pulling it backwards and forwards, I'm dabbing up and down. So this is the first coat done. So it's just been sponged on. Now it's just a case waiting for it to dry. We're going to do another light sponge over the top. So it's better to do more coats with a light sponge than it is to try and wedge a load of paint on there first time round, because that way it'll start bleeding underneath the stencil itself. So I'm hoping that this is going to work out. It's looking a lot more promising. Let's wait for it to dry and get some more on there. Time for the second coat. Okay, that's the second coat done. So I'm gonna have a cup of tea, let it dry off for a bit, and then we're gonna try and peel it back and see what we've got. I think I'm right to be a little nervous about this last bit, but let's give it a try. So far, so good. Just starting to rain again. I'm going to cover this up. Hopefully it's just a shower. That's it, all done. So I think this looks a lot better than the original version with the vinyls. I think it looks great.